They buried my father just behind the house he built, not far from the riverbank. It was his brother and my grandmother who dug the hole, hiding what they'd done to him. I was only 8 then, but I remembered it like yesterday. They lowered him down, covered him with soil, and told us he'd been called home by his ancestors. During his burial, they were all drinking, celebrating like it was a birthday party. Father had been a good man, a hard-working one, grew up poor like everyone else in the village, but he'd been lucky or clever. He traded in cattle, brought wealth to our family that no one else had seen. With his riches, he built us a big house, took in the children of relatives, paid school fees, and shared his success whenever he could. But as he grew richer, his family's smile grew thinner and tighter. Envy seeped into their eyes. They wanted what he had, even though he'd tried to give them enough. One night, while he was asleep in his room, my mother heard the noise. She told me she'd seen his own brother, my uncle, standing in the shadow with my grandmother whispering to him. That night, they took my father's life. They slaughtered him right there in his bed. No one in the village would believe it. They said he died in his sleep from sickness. But I knew and my mother knew. My mother never remarried. She refused to let anyone come close to her children, especially me, her only son. My sisters were young then, and I was too. But she told us, your father's family will do anything to get what's left of his wealth. She guarded us like a hawk. Every time my uncle came around, she kept us hidden. My grandmother would offer my sisters sweets, but my mother always shook her head, her lips pressed tight. Growing up, I'd hear whisper around the village, people talking about my father, about how he'd been too successful, how it wasn't right that one man could have so much. His own family, they thought he was too proud, that he'd forgotten his roots. They never saw his kindness, only the gift he could give them. As I grew older, I realized what my mother meant by protecting us. My uncle tried many times to take over my father's land, to claim our home. He spread rumors, saying, as my father's only brother, he was the rightful owner, but my mother fought him in every way she could, with whatever little she had. She planted crops on our land, worked on the field herself to make sure no one could say we weren't using the land. She kept us fed, clothed, and safe. When I turned 18, my mother sat me down and told me the full truth. She didn't hold back, and I finally understood why she'd never let us forget the dangers around us. She looked at me and said, you are your father's son. Remember, they don't see you as family. They see you as an obstacle. After that, I swore to protect my mother, my sisters, and our home. I stayed close, learned the ways of the land, and kept the house together. Even when I wanted to leave to find my own path, I remembered my mother's words. I made sure my sisters went to school, that they had the chance my father would have wanted for them. Now, many years later, our family stands strong. My mother lives like a queen. I walk past that riverbank often, remembering his grave there and all that was taken from us. I think about how my father's own family turned on him, how they wanted to destroy him for being successful. They thought they could erase him by taking his life, but they were wrong. His strength lives in me, in my sisters, in the family we've rebuilt. And so, here we are, standing on the land he left us, proud of what we've kept alive. Moral lesson for this story, guys. Jealousy can destroy, but love and resilience can rebuild. Thank you so much for listening.